That's the first layer of the staples off, just exposing. Here we are, there's another row underneath there going into the wood. I'll replace all of that wood. So it looks like a, yep, you see how it's overlapped and round. That's the wood for tacking in the everything. It's a little bit narrower and shorter, only comes up just before the holes. I've just measured it to where the old one was, and obviously narrower. I'll get that fixed on now and get the back painted. That's it, pasted with Rust-Oleum rust inhibitor paint. I've painted over the wood. One thing I'd like to show you, I have bent this against with the grain running this way. The originals, the grain is running that way, and you can see what happens if it gets wet. It all shatters. With the grain that way, it makes it more difficult to bend, but you don't get this problem with it. I'm just applying my logic to it. The back, you can see the pop rivets just protrude, which is exactly what I want. So I'll have to. I don't want to grind that off or anything. I just, what I'll do, I'll put some padding, very thin padding over that, so that they don't show through when I put the back on, the new back cover. Next thing is gluing on. That's the first stage glued in. Put a glue down the centre. It's pickling up the paint a bit, but I'm not worried about that. Again, I'm using the smoother side on the outside and the rougher side on the inside. I'll just offer that up now. That will drop right down into there. Difficult with one hand on the camera and using the other hand to move it. This is the new cover for the passenger seat. This that flips forward. I've put it on. You see this very thin plastic. It's the same plastic that I use for masking up when I'm spraying. Exceedingly thin, but allows the cover to slide on nicely. I put it on temporarily, and it needs packing out in this area, so I'll pack that with some more of this K-POC, and I noticed that to get enough to turn over the back, I've had to shorten it down here. I've had to shorten it, so I'll have to pack that, because as you'll see from the original, it came right the way down to that wooden batten there for pinning in. So that's my next job, is pack. That's it, packed. I've built up this bottom edge and put a bit of gauze over it so it's ready now to slide on the cover and have a second go and see how it is. Well, the first thing I'm doing is getting this beading right. It needs to come down a bit, and I do that first of all by pulling hard down on the back, and you'll see that has now brought it level. I'll clamp that in that position, and then from that I'll start tacking outwards from the inside and pulling it at the same time, and see what we've got at the end. Well, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. I've pulled this in tight and pull it towards the outside at the same time. That's it, and then start putting in. These are 6mm staples. That means I can take this first clamp out and move it along, and gradually I'll put some in between there while that is still tight. So these are 6mm, and I can move this clamp over to the other side and gradually move towards the outside, turning it over occasionally just to check that it's not wrinkled. I'll do that now and see how we go. That's just the last stages there. Pull that tight, even though there's a gap there, just taking a clamp out of there so I can tighten it up. And final part right at the end, keeping it tight. Double one at the end just to give it a bit more grip. That's the first stage. That's it. The back first stage. Bit of wrinkling there, but when I pull this in, that will tighten that out. The other side is lovely, and the beading is exactly where I want it to be, the white beading. Now what I've got to do, because the inside, you see that is too long, is to trim that off. You'll see from the, just reach over, that is the original, the Tatiol one. That was just folded over and cut with a bit of spare. So that is how I'm going to do this one. This one fitted very well, so I'll try and replicate that. Now before we can put this in, these have to be put in. I've cut this, wrapped it right over and glued it. I'm going to let that set, and then the next stage is to pull this one round and shape it in. That'll be my next, but that is cut just over the edge, so it just hangs. Yeah, that's the next stage. Well, that's the first stage there. I've glued these in. That'll just pull in when this comes in, when this is pinned in. These are just a single there. I'll double that up, and then I have to use longer ones. These are 6mm because there's padding there. I'll have to use longer. I'll try 8 or maybe 12s, but that will be it. Well, there it is. It took, these were 12mm that pulled them in, and the back is nice and tight and a nice clean edge. There's the beading. Turned out really well. Good luck if you follow what I've done, but I'm not an expert.